Right, the next important, very powerful tool that we use in solving problems in trigonometry are the compound angles as well as double angles. Usually you take it in grade 12. Right, compound. Number one, if I've got an angle like this, sine into A plus B, what happens? If I've got number two, sine into A minus B, what happens? Fortunately for us, we're given this in our examinations in a form of a data sheet. You will be given this, definitely be given that one in a form of a data sheet. Number three, if I've got cosine of A plus B, what happens? If I've got number four, cosine of A minus B, what happens? These are called compound angles. Never refer to them as double because double means two, and there's no two here, so they're called compound angles. Right. What are we going to get here? Sine A into B, this is the same as sine A cos B plus cos A sine B. There's a pattern that will help you to remember this better. Sine into A plus B, sine, cos, cos, sine. That's the rhythm that we use. For sine, we use sine, cos, cos, sine. Whatever sign that you had here, you keep it there. For sine, the rhythm says sine, cos, cos, sine. Let's do it again. Sine, cos, keep the very same sign, cos, sine. Sine, cos, cos, sine. Sine, cos, cos, sine. That's how you remember the sign one, but fortunately you'll be given it in the examination. The sine A into B, remember it's still sine. The rhythm will still say sine, cos, cos, sine. Let's write it down. So this will be sine of the first angle times cosine of the second angle. You keep the very same sign. Then cos of the first angle, which is A, plus times sine of the second angle. So it's sine, cos, cos, sine. You keep the very same sign that you have there. Number three, if I've got cosine of A plus B, it's no longer sine now. Cosine nayo une-rhythm yakhe. Ithini rhythm ka-cosine? Izothi cos, cos, sine, sine. Ithini ka-cosine? Cos, cos, sine, sine. Let's write it down. The angles will follow each other respectively. So this is cos of A, cos of B. You change the sign when it's cos. So it's going to be minus. It's cos, cos, sine, sine. So it's going to be sine A times sine B. This is the formula that we'll use to solve a problem on a compound angles cos. The rhythm is cos, cos, sine, sine. You change the sign in between. Remember, cosine, we change the sign, but cos, you change that sign. Let's move on. A minus B, cos into A minus B. You will spread this as in cos, cos, sine, sine. Remember to change the sign. That's the key. This will be cos A, cos B. Change the sign, it will be plus sine A times sine B. Right, let's try and understand this better, manje. Sithi, sine, the rhythm yakhona is sine, cos, cos, sine. Remember, sine, igama lethi sine liqala ngo-S, so you keep the same sign here. S, same sign. Sine, same sign. Cos, qala ngo-C, igama lethi cos, so you change the sign. Cos, igama lethi change naliqala ngo-C. Cos, you change the sign here, you change it. Sine, you keep the same sign. Sine, same sign. Cos, change sign. Those will remind you on how to remember that one. Fortunately, we'll be given this in the formula sheet, but it helps we are going to exam usowazi ama formula because kwenza ukuthi urun smoothly. Let's move on to double angles. Fortunately for us, there are only two double angles that we're dealing with. Eyodwa eka sine, bese kuthi eyesibili eka cos. Let's start with the sine one. Cos of a double angle, what will we get? Number two, let me start with sine. Sine is much more easier. Sine of a double angle. Number two, let's do cos of a double angle, cos 2 theta. What do I have? Fortunately for us, for sine, there's only one double angle. This is sine of 2 theta. The answer here will be 2 sine theta cos theta. What is this saying to us? Whenever we see sine 2 theta, we can replace it with this one. Or whenever we see something like this, we should think that it is the same as sine 2 theta, a double angle of a sine. Now, for cosine of a double angle, we've got 3 solutions that we can get out of it. The first one, it is cos squared theta minus sine squared theta. This is the second one. So whenever you see cos 2 theta, a double angle, you must think of this identity here called, which is cos squared theta minus sine squared theta. What is the second one? The second one would be 1 minus 2 sine squared theta. Then the third one will be 2 cos squared theta minus 1. So these are the 3. So this is the same as this one. It is also the same as this one, because all of them, they're equal to the double angle of cos, which is cos 2 theta. But how do I remember them? Because I've just written them down in that way. This is how I remember them. Once I have the first one, when I look at this one, this is squared. I think of the square identity, the Pythagorean one, the one that says sine squared theta plus cos squared theta is equal to what? Is equal to 1. This is my way of remembering the other 2. So when I look at this one, they're short of 1. They're short of 1. I do have this, I've got this, I'm short of 1. So I just write 1 here under this one. I follow that sign and write this sine squared. But when I write it now, I'm writing it for the second time. So I will write 2 sine squared theta. I've written this one for the second time to remember the third one. I've written this for the second time. I'm going to write this for the second time again. So when I write it for the second time, I'm going to say 2 cos squared theta and subtract this one as I did on the top one. That's how I remember the 3 of them, and you can find your own way to play around with them. These are called double angles. So whenever I see this, I think of that one. Remember, I'm giving this in a formula sheet as well. So these are the double angles. So it will help us. I will show exactly how they work in the exam situation. Thank you.